Welcome to tutorial number 607. In this tutorial we will be designing a 1-inch hex nut that you see on screen. We will be using SolidWorks to create this part from start to finish. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go to File, New, Part. Okay. Now this example is in inches, so let's confirm that you are working in inches. You can confirm by looking here at the bottom. This little pull down menu here will give you different units. I'm working on the IPS units, and that one will provide you your measurements in inches. So the first thing we have to do is we have to determine where to get started. For this example, let's start off by doing our first sketch on the top plane. Making a new sketch, and for the hex nut it's a 6-sided polygon. So up here under the sketch ribbon there is a polygon option, a command. Go ahead and select it. By default it usually does 6, but if it doesn't have 6 on there, you can go ahead and type 6 in there. And you do have inscribed or circumscribed circle. Let's go ahead and use inscribed. And move your mouse over to the origin, select the origin, and move outward. Now the placement of this one is not extremely critical, but I recommend it points up vertically, so where you have one of the points at the very top most point of your sketch. So select once again. It will create a 6-sided polygon for you, and let's go into a dimension mode. Select the 2 vertical sides and define that dimension as being 1.5 as is called out on our print. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is define one of these lines as vertical. So all you have to do is left click on one of the lines. This pop-up menu will show up and you can select make vertical. When you select make vertical, it locks this line vertically so it will no longer spin, and that should provide a status of fully defined on your sketch. And that pretty much completes the sketch. So at this point what we have to do is go to Features, Extrude, and let's provide the distance of the extrude at 0.887. Now what I want to do is I want the extrude to be, instead of blind, select midplane, so that it divides this number, the 0.887, into 2 parts, and it goes, half of it goes up and the other half goes down. So our top plane is still right in the middle of this extrude. Okay, so let's hit the check mark. Now what I want to do next is I want to create the rounded or the chamfered edges on the top of the hex nut. So let's go ahead and select this face right here, the very top, and then select sketch. We're making a new sketch. Now I want to use my previous sketch to help me create a circle that I need on this surface. So in order to do that, first of all, let's confirm that we can view sketches on here. So let's go to View, Hide Show, and just confirm that this button right here, Sketches, is pressed in. Okay. If it's not, go ahead and select it. Now let's go back to our Boss Extrude 1 option right here. Expand it by selecting the arrow next to it. And the sketch one, go ahead and click on it, and you'll see it, it'll temporarily show up on your screen. Now you should have a little menu that pops up here, and your icon might look a little different, but look for the one that says Show. So I'm going to select Show, and now our sketch is visible on our current view. Let me rotate around a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. So what I want now is to select this circle that's part of my sketch 1, and I want to project that circle onto my current sketch. So go ahead and select it, highlight it, it'll turn like a blue color, and then up here you can select Convert Entities, and you'll see that it'll generate a circle onto your new sketch, and it places it on the current plane that you're working with. So I'm going to use this to help create the chamfers on the edges. Next step is to go to Features, Extruded Cut. Now, instead of doing an extrude cut where it's going to cut everything inside of the circle, the area inside of the circle, I want to actually extrude everything outside of the circle. So in order to do that, you have to check this box that says flip side to cut, and it will extrude everything outside of the circle. So basically everything over here towards the corners will be extruded. Now, I don't want to extrude it straight down. I do want it to draft outwards. So I'm going to select the draft button. I'm going to activate it. And the value that I'm going to put on here is 60 degrees. Now, I'm using 60. On our print, we do have a 30-degree dimension. But the way that SolidWorks is looking at it from its perspective is looking at it from a different side. So we have to do the opposite of the 30. And we'll go with 60. And you can also select, instead of blind, select up to next. And then you have to make sure that you select this draft outward box. Now, what it's going to do is these gray areas in between the circle and the shaded areas are going to be eliminated. Okay, so it's doing a cut extrude, and instead of going straight down, it's drafting at an angle. And it's also starting from outside of the circle until it hits the next surface. That's what up to next means. Okay, so hit the check mark. Now that's one way of creating these beveled edges on the side. There's different methods, but to me that's the easiest approach. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is at the very bottom of the hex nut, there is a small bearing area. And it's also driven by that circle that we projected to the top. We're going to do the same thing now at the bottom. So select the bottom surface, select Sketch, click on that circle, and select Convert Entities. And it will project that circle towards the bottom. And we're going to basically do the same procedure that we did on the top, except we're not going to draft. So let's go to Features, Extruded Cut. We're going to select right here, flip side to cut. Now the depth on here, we're going to select 0.016. Okay. And we're not going to draft it this time. We do want this to go straight up. Okay, so hit the check mark. And as you guys can see, as I zoom in here, you do see the circle, but it's extruding area. It extruded everything outside of the circle. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to use what's called the hole wizard. Now the hole wizard is this button right here. It's under the featured ribbon. So select hole wizard. We are going to use the hole wizard to help create the threaded hole through the center of this hex nut. Okay, so the button that we're going to select is this one right here, the one that says straight tap. Now we're going to scroll down a little because there's a couple of options we need to select. First, you have to confirm that you are in ANSI inch. If not, go ahead and pull this down and select ANSI inch from the list. Tap hole, that is correct. The size, it does say 1-8, which is correct already, but if it's not, go ahead and pull that down and then look for it on the list. Okay, 1-8. Now the end condition, you want it to say through all on both of these boxes. That is correct. And then towards the bottom, some of these might turn on automatically, some of them may not. You can do the near side countersink. Go ahead and check that box if yours is not activated. So for example, if it's not, just go ahead and click it. And inside of these two boxes, the one on top, it should say 1.05. And then the one after that should say 90. And the same two values should appear on the bottom one when you say far side. So if you don't have it, go ahead and select it. And it should say 1.05 and 90 degrees. Now we've done everything that we need to do to verify, or everything that needed to be plugged in on this tab under the type. So now we have to now determine where exactly do we want to position this hole. So now you have to click on the positions tab. And on here, just go straight to the surface where you want to start the hole on, which is the top surface of the hex nut. So go ahead and select the surface once. And now you're going to position the exact location of where you want the hole to begin in, which is the origin. Okay, that's assuming that when you first did your sketch, you start on the origin like this tutorial demonstrated. Okay, so I'm going to click on the origin. It snaps to the center. If you keep clicking, it's going to keep adding more holes, but we only need one. So just click once and then move to the top right corner and select the check. And now it will add the hole wizard function, which is adding that tapped hole onto your hex nut. Now there's a couple of things we need to do here to kind of clean it up a little bit. For example, there isn't any visible threads on here. So what you want to do is you want to go up here to the options button, select document properties, select detailing, and then click on the shaded cosmetic thread and select OK. And now it will show a visual representation of threads. There aren't any actual threads in there. It's just a visual representation of them. The other thing you want to do is if you want to get rid of this sketch that we used initially, you can always go back to here under Boss Extrude 1, click on Sketch 1, and then you can select the hide icon and it'll go away. Now, if you did not get shaded previews even after you turn on that selection up here under the options menu, we can confirm that you did select the proper selection during the hole wizard function. So under here, you can always left click, edit feature. Now this is only required if you do not see the shaded cosmetic threads. And under here, you want to confirm that we did select this button. See how it says cosmetic thread? If you have any of these other buttons selected, just go ahead and highlight this one, the one in the middle, cosmetic thread, and you should see it show up on your screen. Okay, so mine, it was selected. I'm just going to scroll up and hit the check mark. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is I want to define the material like it calls out on our print. So all you have to do at this point is go over here to the left where it says material, right click, edit material, and then look for the one that matches the description on the drawing sheet. So on our sheet, it says galvanized steel. It's right here. Select it, apply, and close. And you'll see it show up. Okay, and the next thing you need to do is, if you would like, whenever you create your drawing, for the description to show up, you can always go up to this button right here that says File Properties. And this is going to be something that's very repetitive on the rest of my tutorials. Select File Properties. Under here on line 1, go ahead and hit this arrow and select Description. Now this one should say text. Move over here to the third column, and on here type exactly what you see in the title box of the drawing sheet. Make sure everything's in caps. So type in 1-8 space UNC space hex space nut. Once you're done with that entry, hit enter. It'll go into your second line. And on the second line, go ahead and pull this arrow down, and you want to select material. This one will say text, and then on your third box, instead of typing anything in there, go ahead and click on the right side. You'll see that there's a pull down arrow over there, and then select material once again. Now it will automatically determine what material it is because you had already defined it when we were over here. Now the last one you want to add is weight. So select this one here, select weight, move over here to the right, click over here, and this time you're going to select mass. And it will tell you right here how much the part weighs, which is 0.33 pounds. And select OK. Now right now you may not appreciate much of what just happened because you don't see much of a benefit here, but whenever you get to the drawing, all of those values that we just plugged in under the file properties, these three right here, will be used to help populate your title box. And they automatically update, so if they ever change, so will your drawing. So the last thing you want to do is save your work. And when you save these files, I recommend saving them as the same number as the tutorial number. So for this particular project, I recommend you save them as 607. That way you can follow along with the rest of the tutorials whenever we do the assemblies, and it will make it easier to follow along. And also saving it as the drawing number 607. Whenever you create your drawing, you will see that 607 will populate onto the title block itself. Okay, so hope this tutorial was helpful to you, and I hope you guys find it useful and maybe tune in into our website for some additional videos, and hope to see you guys again. Thank you very much.